Hey everyone, welcome to my very first YouTube video. Since this is my first one, it's definitely got some rough edges, so if you notice anything, let me know, and I'll fix it. In this video, I want to show you a Blender add-on that I built for animation, and actually use myself, and I'm releasing it completely for free. Hopefully it'll come in handy for you too. So here it is, a quick tour of my add-on made for Blender 5 and up. Opening Blender and installing the plugin. Let's open up Blender. Like I said, I made this for Blender 5 and up, and I haven't tested it on older versions. The Blender I'm recording this video with is 5.1.2, which is the latest version right now. To install the add-on, go to Edit, then Preferences, then Add-ons, and from that little arrow you see right here, we pick our file and install it. The tools S. Now that it's installed, you can see the tools right here. There are settings available for the tools in this section. Some of the tools sit on top of the timeline, and the rest are in the side panel on the right of Blender, which you open with the N key. You can also use this part to move that toolbar above the timeline around. The Sacred Blender Ritual. Following Blender's ancient sacred tradition, our very first move, for absolutely no reason, is to delete the default cube. Now let's add a cube to the scene, just because we are sick.
Motion path. I'll drop 3 keyframes on the cube. I'm going to key both rotation and location so I can show off the tools a bit better. After keying, let's jump to the first tool, which is called Motion Path, or Motion Trail. But how is it any different from Blender's default one? Good question! This tool shows the motion path in real time. One important thing though, it won't update until you set a keyframe. And even though it's real time, it's super lightweight. Tween Machine. The name kinda says it all on this one. Between 2 keys, it drops a middle keyframe for you, from 100%, which means a copy of the next key, all the way down to -100%, which means a copy of the previous key. From -100 to -160, and from 100 to 160, it does overshoot. Now maybe you're sitting there thinking, why isn't it working? He messed up. He's not even paying attention. And I gotta tell you, you're right. But you're also wrong. It is working. It's just that right now I've got a keyframe selected, so it's applying to that keyframe. So let me deselect, and now it works on the frame I'm actually on. You can also put this on a shortcut, and by holding Control, you can snap the percentages as you drag. So if a specific key is selected, it'll only apply to that one. And this goes for the graph editor too. You can use the Tween Machine on a specific key and a specific axis, just like you see here on screen. Okay, let me drink some water.
Let's continue. Scale, from neighbor, left/right. Like the name says, this works relative to the keyframe before or after it, depending on what you pick. This tool is just like the Tween Machine, but it's green, and you can run it on a specific axis and key you've selected. And by holding Control, you can snap to the exact percentage you want. Share all keyframes. For this button, we need another cube, so let's add a cube. Delete its keyframe. Grab both cubes and hit SK, or Share Keyframes. It throws an error, and that's how we realize we messed up and goofed. The new cube needs to have at least 1 keyframe on it. So we set a keyframe, and now we grab both cubes, hit SK, and the keyframes get shared. This doesn't mean the keyframes have the exact same coordinates as the other cube. They just get keyed without any coordinates. Parent. In this part, we've got parenting, which is a bit of a challenge for some Blender animators. Okay, first, let's turn off the motion trail on the previous cube by hitting the motion trail button. Then we'll delete the cube itself. Why didn't we just delete it directly? Because I wasn't paying attention. Now let's add a sphere. Click on the sphere, then on the cube, and now hit the parent button. And now, as you can see, 2 keys got placed on the cube, and you can spot them down at the bottom of the timeline in pink. Why 2 keyframes? One key is parent 0, and the other is parent 1. I added this to make life easier, and it's editable too. Now, to make it clearer, let's drop a few keys on the sphere, and you'll see the cube jumps. Why? Because I forgot to delete its old keys. After you remove its parent, the cube snaps back to its original spot. So, I delete those keyframes, and you can see how it's fixed now. Now, let's flip the parenting around. First grab the cube, then the sphere, and hit parent. And just like that, you can see the parenting got animated. Nice and easy.
Let's change the tone. Testing on a character. Now, let's move on to a character. So, I've got a character I rigged. It's not the cleanest rig out there, but it's good enough for a tutorial. I'll append it, and let's get to work. Mirror keyframes. The first tool we're gonna test is MK, or Mirror Keyframes. This tool only shows up in pose mode. And like the name says, it copies a controller's keyframes onto its mirrored controller. To test it, I'll throw a few poses on my character's left arm. I'll also use the Tween Machine to show that it works on a rig too. But, of course, since I'm not paying attention, I mess up again and forget not to have a keyframe selected. I'm not trying to do professional animation here, I just want to show you how things work. I'll also use share keyframes to copy the keys onto the elbow controller too. Like I said, I'll just drop a few keys to show what it does. I'm not going for any fancy animation. Now I'll select all the keys and hit MK. And as you can see, the movements got copied perfectly onto the right arm. Keyframe Offset. Now we'll grab a motion path off the wrist. While I'm at it, I'll key the wrist to show you that the motion trail turns orange when there's a keyframe. And by the way, you can easily change its size and colors from the settings. Let's start posing the wrist. And now we arrive at the Offset Keyframes tool. The keyframes we selected can be pushed forward or backward based on the number we put in here. Easy as that. All right, let's turn off the motion trail and move on to the next tool. Object to rig parent. Now let's add a cube to the scene and tuck it right onto the wrist. I think this frame looks good. Now, from the side panel, by hitting N on the keyboard, let's go to the Mad Parent section. And we'll pick from these boxes. I'll set the cube as the child, because I want it to follow the hand. For the parent, since it's a controller, I first pick the rig, and then I see the name of the controller I want and select it. But nothing happened. Why? Did I mess up again? Nope, we just need to parent it! So let's hit parent, and there it goes. But it looks broken, because, like we said, when you parent, it drops a 0 and a 1 key one after another, where 0 means not parented, and 1 means parented. All we need to do is turn that 0 into a 1, or delete its keyframe. Now if we want to unparent, we just hit this button and it's done. Easy.
And again, we've got 2 keyframes, but this time they're 1 and 0 in that order. Now let's parent the cube to the other hand from this frame onward. We just do the same thing we did, but with the right hand. Easy. Select the right hand and parent it. This little glitch you're seeing is because of my own animation, and it's easy to fix. And with the motion trail, we'll clean up the arc a bit too, so our already trashy animation doesn't get any trashier.
Footlock! I love this voice.
Sorry.
Let's move on to the next tool. This one you see here is called Footlock, and it's most useful for walk and run cycles. So I'll quickly throw together a rough little walk cycle. Sorry in advance for the low quality. Animation isn't the goal here. I'll speed it up so you don't get bored. While I'm doing this animation, I'll also use the tools I showed you so you get a better feel for how they're used. I'll mostly be using the Tween Machine, Motion Path, and Mirror keyframes. I'll also use Blender's own shortcut, Shift plus Control plus V, which makes my life easier. And in the end, we get this walk. Pretty rough, huh? Okay, now I'll animate the character's main controller. I don't want any easing on it, so I'll make it linear. It's a bit too much, so I'll dial it back a little with SL. There, not bad now. You can still see the feet are sliding though. Alright, let's head over to the Footlock tool. Here we set which frame to which frame we want the foot to be locked. For me, frames 1 to 12, where it's on the ground, seems like a good pick. So I'll select 1 through 12. I want it locked like frame 1, so I'll pick first frame. And I want it keyed frame by frame, so I'll set step to 1. That option next to it. If you ever find a rig that struggles with foot locking, you can tweak it up or down to get it to play nice with that rig. But for this rig, which is an auto rig, 6 does the job. In this part, you can also set which axes it applies to. And finally, once we're happy with everything, we hit this button and lock our foot. This little glitch you see is from the animation, and it's editable. In the graph editor too, you can see it holds the foot at the exact original coordinates relative to the main speed, which is exactly what we want. Now for the left foot, we'll use the tool from the last frame and only for location, and lock it. And we end up with a scene like this. As you can see, no keys got placed on scale or rotation.
Picker! Is it annoying? Get used to it. Sorry.
Now let's move on to the next tool, the Picker. The name says it all. After selecting our rig, we hit this button to open the Picker. It's basically a Blender screen. If you've got 2 monitors, you can easily drag it over to the other one and use it there. Now you can take a screenshot of your character, increase or decrease the image resolution. Crop the image, organize your screens into groups, and most importantly, create a button for each controller. You can change the shape, color, and name of every button. The size and rotation are editable too. Finally, you connect the controller to it, exit edit mode, and from then on, whenever you click it, that controller gets selected. You can take and add as many screenshots as you want and place them side by side, like the hand, the face, and so on, and make as many buttons as you like for each one. And in the end, you can export it and import it again anytime you want to reuse it.
Mad Library. Now we get to the Mad Library tool. To use this tool, you first need to set a specific folder where everything gets saved. Second step, you can save your animation like this by selecting the range you want. For example, I wanted to save frames 1 to 24, so I did. We've also got previews for the animations. You can use it the same way for poses too. It can create folders so you can keep everything nice and organized. And whenever you want, you can bring your animation from the library into your scene. For the pose library mode, you can even set what percentage of the saved pose gets applied on the frame you want.
Mad layer.
And finally, we reached the last tool. This tool lets you easily add whatever you want to your animation. By selecting the controller you want and hitting this button, you can create a layer. As you can see, the timeline of the layer you just made is counted separately from the layer you already had. Now let's give the character's hips an animation. And there, it's done. With this option, you can dial the strength of that animation up or down. You can play just that specific layer. Or you can even mute the layer. And in the end, you can merge the layers together and have your whole animation sitting neatly side by side.
The end.
This add-on is available right now from the links I put in the description. I hope it comes in handy for you. And if there's any issue, I've left my contact info so we can stay in touch. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My back's killing me, so I'm gonna wrap this video up fast and go to sleep. Tell me in the comments if this video was annoying or not. Love you all. Take care.